Steven, how long do you think we have until Amari Cooper tries to get his dad to post a video online to get him out of Cleveland?
Boy, what a question to start things out. I think
A very specific question, too.
I think we'll go. Well, when did OBJ's dad do it? When did Odell Beckham Sr. do it?
It was late in the season or November-ish, around the time he got cut.
Okay, yeah.
Do you think Amari would stoop that low, though?
No
I don't
chance.
think so either.
No chance. But I don't know what Amari Cooper's dad is like. You know what's funny? Thinking about that now is I was gonna say I was about to say Odell Beckham Jr. Sr. because I'm so used to saying Odell Beckham Jr. that it feels like that's actually involved in his last name. You forget, like, oh yeah, he's just Odell Beckham.
he's not actually a junior. It's just part of his name.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna name my future child. Just Stephen Langford Jr. or whatever Langford Jr. and then just have people totally confused.
Real quick, I don't want to go down this hole here, but I made a promise to a friend a long time ago that my firstborn child has to be named Jub Jub.
Why?
Because we were watching The Simpsons one day, and the lizard in The Simpsons, owned by Troy McClure, is named Jub Jub, and I thought that was a funny name. And he said, I bet you won't name your firstborn child that. And I said, bet. And every girlfriend I've had, I told him that, and that kind of leads to us breaking up. But regardless, it's happening.
So you're single?
Yes, because I want to name my son Jub Jub. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Just Your Opinion, man. It feels like a lifetime ago since we did our last podcast, our very, very outdated podcast by the time it aired. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Tuesday morning, I hit the button to send, the tweet out that our podcast has been posted, and sure enough, everything we talked about had no relevancy because Aaron Rodgers went back to the Green Bay Packers, as we predicted, but it was just ill-timed. So going forward, I'm going to post all of our podcasts the same day that we record them for the live stream.
All right, we're there now. But yeah, we that's so funny. It's crazy. Like, we did the same thing because I posted the Black Hole Sundays, but
yeah,
the thing was, like, when you post the podcast, you have an option that you can make it like you have to like click a button so it goes out to the public.
Yes.
Like, you can make it private, but then, that's the only reason you do that is so you can save it for a later date. But this one, you got to make public right away. Forgot to do that. So I get in the next day and I'm like, there's no downloads on this thing. Oh, I haven't made it public. So I made it public, and all of that was just completely outdated. But nevertheless, we are here now. We are live on a Saturday.
Sticky icky ooh wee. So I'm kind of glad that we had time to process everything this week because we have a ton to talk about. And it was just story after story after story, trade after trade after trade, and we'll get all to it. But in the middle of all the NFL news, Steven, you don't have to throw acid at Rob Manfred's face anymore because baseball is back. Your quick thoughts.
Yes. Well, to anyone who's just tuning in now, I did not say that I would throw acid in his face. I
didn't you?
I did say it, but I didn't mean it in the way that it was misconstrued. I did not.
I'm just trying to get you canceled every week by bringing it up.
I didn't want to cause any physical harm to Mr. Manfred, and I respect everything that he said. But no, his apology, not taking it. I hate everything that he said at the podium. Can't stand it. I'm glad that baseball's back, and really, it was the last possible day. Jesse was not hesitant to point out on our last podcast or a few podcasts ago that we probably weren't going to be going to spring training games. And I said definitively that we're not going to be going to spring training games because baseball's not going to happen. So on the last possible day that baseball could come to an agreement, it did. And I'm very excited about it, Derek. Very happy.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for everybody, including me. I was not looking forward to the A's season, but I'll watch it. And we're getting things kicked off. First pitch, April 7th, opening day. So no spring training games, right? No, none of that. We're just going straight to playing.
No, what? There's spring training games
next week or when?
Starting on the 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, baby. So wait, so when you go to Arizona next week, you'll be watching games?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right, there you go then. Everything worked out then.
Yeah. If, I'm telling you, if the CBA talks would have extended any longer, like, we could have been looking at it starting probably on like the Monday when we leave. So we caught it on like the perfect day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when things are getting started, I don't know what it's going to do to ticket prices, but it's going to give us something to do to get out of the Airbnb, even though that was really our plan was to go out anyway. But
Yeah.
man, spring training baseball, I'm into it. Let's
So
go.
we get 2 weeks of spring training.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how the two different networks. So we're going to have free agency in both the NFL and baseball going on the same time. And I guess the NFL has already taken over the word frenzy. On NFL Network, it's free agency frenzy.
Yeah.
On MLB Network, it's free agency fever. So whatever alliteration you want with the F's, you will have with free agency.
Well, I
But
know you work for the biz, but which one's better? Is it frenzy or fever?
I like the frenzy.
You like frenzy?
I like it's an inside joke between me, my dad, and my little brother. Whenever this time of year happens, we always just refer to it as the frenzy. It's kind of like a joking thing. Like we wouldn't call it that, but we just like that NFL Network calls it the frenzy. And MLB Network has the fever, but they were doing their free agency before the the lockout happened. So most of that stuff, or when Max Scherzer went to the Mets, the A's got rid of all their players, not all of them, but big name guys went to the Mets too. So who are we still waiting on as far as baseball free agency? Big names? Anybody?
Big names.
Or just little guys here?
Freddie Freeman is the one.
Freddie Freeman, yeah.
Yeah, and if he's gonna go to the Dodgers, I'm gonna be very sad because he's my favorite non-giant in baseball. I love Freddie Freeman.
That's gonna happen though.
Yeah, it is gonna happen. Chris Bryant from the Giants is still
Yep,
one who's
that's
out there.
true.
I don't know if the Giants are gonna re-sign him to a deal, which I think they should. Nick Castellanos is up there. Jorge
of course,
Soler.
Matt Chapman trade and everybody on the A's.
Matt Olson could be going to the Braves.
Matt Olson, god damn it.
Yeah, he could be taking the place of Freddie Freeman. So,
and
there you
who
go.
the Giants just pick up? Pitcher, right?
Carlos Rodon from the Chicago
Ah.
White Sox. I believe he had a no-hitter last year. 29 years old, lefty. He's going to bring something new to the table. I'm not saying it's going to win them the division with that one move. There's still plenty of stuff they need to do in order to. I mean, they're not going to have a 107-win season, but this season's not won through free agency, Derek.
Oh, I know. And that's not how Farhan operates. So we'll see what happens. And glad for Jeff Passan to get that tweet off that baseball is back, even though he was hacked that day.
Whew, what a day. What a day for Jeff Passan. I can't imagine what that was like. He's probably like sending emails. He's like, whoever Jack is, the guy that runs Twitter. I don't know. But anyway.
There's a guy named Jack that runs Twitter.
Yeah, at Jack, the guy who created Twitter. I think Jack Dorsey is his name.
His name is just at Jack.
Yeah.
There's so many other Jacks. Jack in the Box, Jack Black.
Yeah,
Jack
but
Nicholson.
if you have the opportunity to take Jack, like this is why I respect Andre Iguodala so much. His Twitter handle is at Andre.
By the way, last game in Denver, I loved Andre's outfit. It looked like he had a tea time early the next day in the Rocky Mountains. Like he was just ready to golf.
I got to be honest. I'm not going to accuse them of anything, but it looked like him and Draymond might have had a couple of glasses of wine prior to that game.
Oh, Draymond was feeling himself with those orange glasses.
I haven't seen Andre be that proactive from the bench in a while. And Draymond's normally like that, but we've seen him at the championship parades enough to where we know, the guy's probably had a drink or two prior to the game.
He was yelling at Steph for not being more aggressive to the basket. He was, Draymond, Draymond, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Draymond is this era's Joe Theismann. If you know anything about Joe Theismann back in the day, Joe Theismann, his real name, he changed his name to Theismann, around with Heisman. Ridiculous. Yeah. While he was playing for the then Redskins, would always want to be on TV. And they always called him just like a media, for lack of a better term, whore. He always wanted to be on TV. Whenever there was an interview, he would run to go do it. He always wanted to talk. He would always be on TV when his team was out of it. That is Draymond Green now. He always wants to be on TV. He always wants to be in front of the camera. And good for him. He's very good at it. But I can't wait for him to see him come back and play basketball on Monday.
He's going to be a coach one day, isn't he? Like, I know we're so focused on
not to cut you off, but you said it last episode. You expect him to call it a career in 2 years and start working for TNT.
Well, no doubt. He's going to be working for TNT, but you could easily run the Steve Kerr route and go to broadcasting and then go back into coaching. Like, he just seems... He knows too much about basketball, and he seems so passionate about it that it's like I know being a broadcaster is perfect for him, but also being a coach, I think he'd be a fantastic coach.
He would be a great coach. You'd have to dial it back a little bit. Can't get techs every game, but that'd be interesting. Draymond could do whatever he likes, and we'll talk about more about Draymond and the Warriors coming up here.
Hell
But
yeah.
Steven, let's talk about the frenzy. Let's talk about all the NFL news, and it started on Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers, after much speculation and Pat McAfee interviews and Pancha Karma and all the bullshit, it's finally fucking over. He's going back to the Green Bay Packers as expected. Ian Rappaport does a fantastic job. He gave the terms of the contract, and then Pat McAfee, who has Ian Rappaport on his show every week, decided to go against what Rappaport was reporting. We don't know the terms of the contract, but it's supposed to be the biggest contract in the NFL. It's over. Aaron Rodgers is going back to the Packers. We could stop with all his whining and complaining and beautiful mystery. There was no last dance. He's going back to Green Bay.
Pat McAfee from downtown with the report, so out of bounds. I don't know. That's just every time I'm reading his tweets, that's all I think about. He always like makes a very makes a concerted effort to, make sure everything is in caps. Anyway,
yes.
What is it? 4 years, 200 mil, 153
something
guaranteed?
like that. Whatever is actually the truth.
153 guaranteed. Like that's what got him there. But look, man, this is what was going to happen. Everyone knew that Aaron Rodgers was going back to Green Bay. Denver making a late push, whatever. But that set it up for the next domino to fall, man. I think that also, I think that also showed what they were going to do with Davante Adams. But you know what? Good for the Packers, man, because even with everything happening off the field, because there's a certain quarterback we're going to talk about who's had his off-field issues that could be making his return to the NFL this next year, that will be making his return to the NFL next year.
But for how many games? We'll talk about that too.
There you go. But compared to everything else that a lot of these other NFL players have done to play again, Aaron Rodgers, it's kind of minuscule compared to all their stuff. He's just annoying.
Yes. No,
so,
I agree.
He hasn't hurt anybody. He hasn't physically harmed anybody. Mentally, he's gotten under people's skin, but that's just for whoever, decides they want to let Aaron Rodgers get under their skin. But I think it's a great move for the Packers, for both of them. I don't know about the money, but he's still really damn good. And they better build something for him for these next 4 years.
But that's the thing. I don't know how they get better because they are such in cap hell. And you're better off having Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying that. And I know a lot of Raider fans exhaled when they saw that he's going back to the Packers and not going to Denver for a couple of hours. And we'll get to the other domino to fall in a little bit here. But I don't know, man. It sounds like they're going to get rid of Zadarius Smith, and it sounds like the Chiefs are in on Zadarius Smith, which, oh boy.
See, that's something I want to. You mentioned the term here, salary cap hell, and I'd be with you, but I think as like a football fan now, we know the salary cap at face value. Like we can study it and do all those different things, but when we say these teams are in salary cap hell, like if you can get your guy, you get him, especially at quarterback, and I'm sure they're going to figure something out around the salary cap. Maybe not. Maybe you could be totally right and they just can't pay anybody, but they got to have some sort of plan, right?
Well, I mean, you would think. I mean, it sounds like they're going to cut some guys like Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, but I just don't know how they get better. Every year we complain about their lack of wide receivers, and it shows in the playoffs when Davante Adams is double covered and they can't get the ball to, Alan Lazard or Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
I just think St. Brown.
Yes. And I just don't know what they're going to do to upgrade the team. They have a first-round draft pick. They have, draft picks, but they drafted that guy, Amari Rodgers, last season. I just, for the most part, I understand bringing back Aaron Rodgers, and you should do that. He's going to make you a better team, but I just don't know how they'll be a better team. And they got to figure out what Davante Adams. He'll play for now on the franchise tag. I would assume they want to lock him up for a long-term deal. But we'll see here, man. And yeah, in the end, I don't want to do this every year where what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully this is the end. There's no more Rodgers watch, like Favre watch. We'll see what happens with Tom Brady and all that bullshit. I saw he's at a soccer game today.
You sound just so like you're talking with a lot of disdain in your voice, right?
Because it's just I just hate off-season drama. And like you said last episode, Steven, I hate this about myself now. And we'll talk about all the news that happened. I fucking hate this. That I wake up every goddamn morning checking my phone to see if there's any news. I hate that. And I don't want the alerts sent to my phone. I want to just live my life. But there's not maybe 15 minutes that go by that I'm like, well, I got to see if someone got traded. And it just drives me nuts.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. It's funny to think about, really, because there are people out there who don't like sports, and they're just not hanging their hat on every move that they make. Like, I wonder, like, what were people who didn't like sports doing on a wonderful Tuesday? Probably getting themselves some dinner ready. I don't know, preparing themselves, like taking a nice nap, maybe reading a book, taking a shower, just doing things perfect for their mental health. Whereas us sports fans are like,
checking on
what's gonna happen.
Yeah, checking on more important things like what's going on with Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, what's happening in the world? Yeah, let's get a little update there. Meanwhile, you and I are like, what's happening with Carson Wentz?
In trivial things, we're just like, oh my God, can you believe this? Russell Wilson gets traded to the Broncos. Like, yeah, there's a war going on too, buddy. But yeah, let's move on to that now. So Raider fans inhaled for a little bit of time, or I should say exhaled, and I inhale. Raider fans exhaled. And we're happy that Aaron Rodgers is not going to the Broncos. Oh, but it got worse, and probably a bigger story that I did not expect to happen at all. Looking back on it now, I was so naive to think that there would not be many quarterback trades. They're happening fast and furious, and there may be more to come, but this may be one of the bigger trades we've seen in quite some time. Russell Wilson does, in fact, get traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Denver Broncos for 2 first-round picks, 2 2s, a 5th-round pick, and 3 players, Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, and Noah Fant. Russell Wilson is in the AFC West.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I know. I couldn't believe it. But, the thing is, what does the Broncos' offensive line look like? Like, are they good?
They got Garrett Bowles, who's
fantastic out of Utah. I remember him being a top 10 pick, and looking at him in the draft, I was like, that guy's going to be a monster just by looking at him.
I would say that to be completely honest, I don't know a lot about the Broncos offensive line. I just know they have Garrett Bowles.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of the team, they got some pieces, man. I'm amazed they didn't have to give up Jerry Jeudy or Patrick Surtain II.
For sure.
Or even Bradley Chubb. They still got a great team, and they still have some cap space, and we don't know what's going on with Von Miller. He go back to Denver, he go back to L.A., but immediately the first reaction when you see this is Niner fans rejoice, saying, thank God Russell Wilson's out of the division. We don't have to deal with him anymore. Yeah. He was the kryptonite to the Niners, whether it was the Jim Harbaugh teams, the Jim Tomsula team, any team, Kyle Shanahan, Russell Wilson beat the 49ers on a consistent basis. And now the number one reaction when Russell Wilson got traded to the division, of course, everyone says, is Derek Carr the worst quarterback in the AFC West now? And by default, yes. But we'll get to Derek Carr a little bit more later. But as crazy as the NFC West was a year ago with everybody making moves, the AFC West is just as crazy now with Russell Wilson coming to the Broncos. I don't know if they're the best team in the division now, but they're certainly in the mix with him at quarterback.
No doubt. I do wonder, though, because let me just look at this. So last year, the Raiders scored 34 against the Broncos, and then that was in the first game. Then they put up 17 in the second game.
First game after John Gruden's fire.
Correct. Yes. So my thought was, of course, Russell Wilson's a great quarterback, but I wonder what that offensive line looks like and how it performs, because the thing is, in Seattle, it's not like he didn't have any talent around him on offense. Yeah. You got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I thought him and Russell Wilson had one of the best quarterback wide receiver connections in the league. Like, starter to wide receiver, those two, it feels like they were just in lockstep with each other. I'm sure there's a bunch of others that you could probably list, but to me,
Stafford could cut, but yeah,
but anytime I'm watching it, of course, that played out in the Super Bowl, but it just feels like year after year I'm watching Russ and Tyler Lockett, damn, that's an underrated duo right there. But then you had DK Metcalf. They had Will Dissly at tight end, but he'd get hurt, and didn't he tear his ACL one year? Chris Carson had some issues at running back. I always thought he was really good, but he was never able to stay healthy. So I looked at this move and I thought, I guess he upgraded offensively. I know Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick are good, but Tyler Lockett and DK are very good as well. And that defense for the Seahawks was not good at all. So I'm not saying it's a lateral move for Russell Wilson as far as team to team, but the Broncos didn't have a lot of talent around him. Now, like you said, they could easily make some free agent decisions and free agent moves that could bolster their roster. They could draft guys, except not anymore, but maybe in the 3rd or 4th round, whatever. So I don't know, man. I looked at that move. Of course, it sucks and it stinks having, on paper, the worst quarterback in the AFC West or whatever. But as a team, like the Broncos, I don't know. They didn't necessarily scare me.
Yes, I'm in agreement with you, Steven. It may be that Derek Carr is the worst quarterback in the AFC West by default, but I'm not so sure that the Broncos are a better team than the Raiders right now, and the Raiders can make a lot of moves. So, and we'll get to the other move that the AFC West did this week as well that really has me pissed off, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Why does that have you? Can we talk about that now?
Hold on. I'll get to it, Steven. Hold on.
Why are you mad about it?
I will get to it. Just hang on. Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos is an interesting move. I just didn't think the Seahawks were going to do this. And in the end, it just turns out that Russell Wilson just did not want to be there anymore and was going to force their hand. And while Aaron Rodgers did all of his interviews and, talk shit about the team and press conferences, Russell Wilson just stayed quiet and, probably bitched to Roger Goodell at the Super Bowl about being in Seattle. And it probably, I'm not, naive or anything, but I'm sure Roger Goodell was like, it's probably in the best interest for the NFL if Russell Wilson gets traded. And in the end, his agent was just like, he's not going to sign back with you guys. And it sounds like Russell Wilson just didn't want to be a part. I mean, I'm sure he loves Pete, but they're just on 2 different wavelengths as far as what he envisions in the offense. He wants a ground and pound offense. Or does he? Because while Russell Wilson was the face of the Seattle Seahawks franchise, I have to believe they have a backup plan, and it could be that they draft a quarterback 9th overall, or they're gearing up to get Deshaun Watson, and Niner fans should be scared shitless of that. We'll talk about that later. In the end, Russell Wilson going to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos have just been tired of not having a quarterback ever since Peyton Manning retired. They did the thing with Brock Osweiler. He sucked. They tried doing Trevor Siemian. And who else? I can't even think of any of the
Paxton Lynch.
Paxton Lynch. Who's the guy from Minnesota for a year? Case Keenum.
Wow. Case Keenum was a Bronco, huh?
Case Keenum.
What a
Teddy
time.
Bridgewater. Drew Lock. All of them not good enough. They're moving on. And Russell Wilson should be their quarterback for the foreseeable future.
You like the Raiders, don't you?
What's up?
You're a Raider fan still. That's what I'm gathering from all of this. You're a Raider fan still. I like this.
No, Steven. I just still have a soft spot, but I don't. Okay. You want to talk about Khalil Mack?
No, but hang on real quick with Russell Wilson. I do think you mentioned it, though. Like the Seahawks, what was surprising to me about the move when really thinking about it was, why would the Seahawks at Pete Carroll's age, when I don't know how much longer he's going to be a head coach, but like it feels like an odd time to go into some full rebuild mode. I know we had our boy Ryan Mauser, who might be watching this right now, who's a Seahawks fan. Actually, he might be busy betting on some random Champion Week game. That's why he texted the tweet, or that's why he replied to the tweet, by the way, about Championship Week. He's been hitting me with all random, like, Central Michigan and Syracuse. Paying attention to those teams right now. It's like
until a bracket comes out, you and me know nothing about college basketball.
Yeah, no, but hey, Mauser will give you some straight up analysis. It's pretty good.
I'm sure.
But he's a Seahawk fan, and he's like, dude, if we go into like some half-ass rebuild, like you might as well make it a whole rebuild. Don't half-ass this rebuild. But we were also saying, like, it's weird that they're in this phase where it looks like they're gonna be in a rebuild, but maybe they're not. They got to be making some sort of other move, right?
I mean, well, they released Bobby Wagner as well, and
didn't even tell him about it. Did you see that?
Yeah,
come on, man. You gotta at least tell your player.
You do. It happens a lot for whatever reason. The NFL, that's not how I would operate.
No doubt. But not the players like Bobby Wagner, though.
No, I know. Believe me. I'm with you, man. It may just
Wags,
be a time
as I call him. Me and Wags, we're buds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me and Wags. B-Wags, what's up?
Not Michael Wagner, the old Raider writer from back in the day?
No,
Remember
I'm
him?
talking actually, I had the nickname for Billy Wagner from the Mets, but he just stopped talking to me out of nowhere. He wasn't too happy about me making fun of him for being on the Hall of Fame ballot. Anyway, keep going.
Oh, is that a
I'm
real
just
thing?
kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, Billy Wagner was on the Hall of Fame ballot, and I was like, what the hell's Billy Wagner's name doing on this thing? Kind of like with Scott Rowland and Mark Burley and that. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
those guys are there. But anyway, keep going.
No, I'm just saying. In the end, yeah, the Seahawks. Now they're the fourth worst team in the NFC West and that competitive division. Now we'll see what they do. I'm with you, Steven. Like Pete Carroll is the oldest coach in the NFL. Bill Belichick, drafted a rookie quarterback, and he's not going through a whole rebuild. He wants to win now. I would assume that Drew Lock is not going to be their day one starter. I have to believe that they're trying to do something here, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
All right. Khalil Mack. Listen, I'm not a Raider fan anymore, but I am still spurned by that 2018 trade. So when I saw that Khalil Mack was traded for a second and a fucking sixth to the Los Angeles Chargers for a cap dump, 2018 Derry P got pissed because I don't know, man. Like
you just referred to yourself in third person from 4 years ago. Wow,
I did, and I call myself Derry P, trying to get that catch on. Elena
like
knows. That's what I used to call myself.
Like a random fast food restaurant that's like super obscure, and everyone's like, "You haven't been
Terry,
to Derry P's?"
Yeah, no. Terry P's in Austin, Texas.
Oh my god.
It's also the name of Craig Robinson's monkey flashlight keychain in the end, or This Is the End.
Really?
Terry P. Terrence Peterson. Terry P.
Wow. What a pull. Anyway, keep going.
Khalil Mack. So after being traded for 2 first-round picks to the Chicago Bears, the Bears dump him after 4 seasons, same amount of time he was with the Raiders, funny enough. And he just goes for a second and a sixth. And I get it. It's a great move for the Chargers. It's an unbelievable move. And I just feel bad because he's going to terrorize Derek. And it's going to be Joey Bosa and him against that not great Raiders offensive line. And hopefully they make some upgrades. I don't know what they'll do. But I don't know, man. It just seems like the Bears... Same thing with Amari Cooper. We'll talk about him too, getting traded to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th and a 6th. These guys were supposed to be the mainstays for the Oakland Raiders. And now they were traded away for first-round picks to the new teams. They had success for a little while. In the end, I guess it shows that just, while the Raiders didn't want to give those guys big contracts, neither did the teams that wanted to trade for him either, with the Bears and the Cowboys. So now Khalil Mack, anyone that says Khalil Mack is washed, stop. The man is, when he is healthy, in my opinion, it's Aaron Donald and then him. He is just that great of a player. It's not always the sack numbers. He is equal parts a great pass rusher as he is a run stopper. And he's going to just do wonders with his old coach in Chicago, Brandon Staley. I think it's a huge move. I just think it's crazy that the Raiders traded him away because they couldn't afford it. And now, with the cap, like we were talking about, we don't know cap situations. And I don't think teams know it either because you can, back in the day, John Gruden said, well, you can't have a quarterback that makes this amount of money. And you can't have a pass rusher that makes this amount of money. Yes, you can. It's happening with Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald. It's going to happen with Justin Herbert and Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. It happens all the time now. So to me, it just brings up bad memories of how we couldn't just handle that situation. And I don't think it's a coincidence at all that Khalil Mack is traded to the Chargers one day, and then the next day, the Raiders give Max Crosby a huge, big contract. Just to show that we value this guy and we can finally afford a pass rusher for the first time.
Well, I think the Raiders got a cheaper deal for Max Crosby than was originally projected. I actually really like the deal that they got for him, considering the type of production that he has.
No doubt.
The field. But when talking about Khalil Mack, though, when going to Khalil Mack and talking about that, I got to be honest, man. I know that I'm a Raider fan. I'm supposed to hate the Chargers, have this disdain for the Chargers. Oh,
you kind of want to see him play now, huh?
Well, no, like I've been saying this for the past couple of seasons, really ever since Phillip Rivers has been gone, but like I kind of like the Chargers. I don't there's a lot of it's
Steven, you're a Dolphins fan now. You're a Chargers fan
oh,
now.
big Dolphins fan. Can't wait for the Tua Mike McDaniel connection. But man, I really like I'm a fan of Justin Herbert. I like the type of dude that he is, and I like the way that he plays on the field. Keenan Allen's a talker, but I've always thought that Keenan Allen's one of the more underrated wide receivers in the league. They might have overpaid for Mike Williams. They gave him like a $20 million a year deal
He's
or
good.
something like that. He's all
He's
right, but $20 million a year, like come on. And then yeah, and then Joey Bosa is really the only guy I do not like on that team because he's just a straight meathead. And then, but then you got Khalil Mack, and I got nothing bad to say about Khalil Mack. I think the Bears are stupid for trading him. Like, why would you do that? You know, it's the same thing as the Raiders. Like, why? I mean, the Raiders were in a different situation because, well, he was the future of their team, and you traded away the future of their team. The Bears got him when he was like, you know, his 7th or 8th year into the league, whatever it was. So, like.
Not even that. 5th year. Yeah.
I'm happy for him, man. I'm happy
for him too. No, I'm happy. He's going to have success with the Chargers. It's just crazy to me that we have both of those guys, Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, and they're on their 3rd teams now. It's just crazy to me that, you know, I don't know. I
don't care about Amari. I would have been very hesitant to pay Amari the amount of money that he would have got that he got with Dallas. Like if the Raiders would have given him a 5-year, $100 million deal, I'd be like, yeah, I'm out on that. Bye.
No, I'm in agreement with you. They, you know, I don't know what they want to do there. They're bringing back Michael Gallup, it sounds like, and he tore his ACL last season, but so are the Buccaneers franchise tagging Chris Godwin. They made a mistake with that huge contract, and you know, CeeDee Lamb seems to be the bigger, more explosive player in that offense. But
yes, he's the number 1 guy.
Yes, but that's fine because I don't think Amari Cooper is a number 1. I think that, like I was saying last podcast, you got to have a lot of receivers on your team now. You got to have a 3-receiver set that's explosive. So I think it's a downgrade for the Cowboys. Good luck to the Browns with Baker Mayfield trying to throw in the wind to Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper hates the cold. So good luck with that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling whatever for Amari Cooper, whatever. But yeah, the Khalil thing, it's going to sting. But look, man, like I was also like when the Bears were playing the Raiders for the first time ever since Khalil Mack was going to play against them, I was rooting for Khalil Mack.
Like, I was too, and God, I just feel bad. How many times are we going to see Khalil Mack sack Derek Carr now and throw up the O in Vegas?
Well, how many is he really going to be playing Derek Carr twice a year?
Yeah, we'll get into that too. I still think that's the case, but a lot of, like, what I should learn from this week is that anything can happen trade-wise. It seems to be the case now where the NFL is going crazy with all these quarterbacks, you know, making a lot of money, and they don't want to spend that much money if you're a so-so quarterback, or, you know, you're just not a team leader. Case in point, I was wrong about this too. The Colts had enough. They had enough. They sent Carson Wentz for was it 2 third-round picks?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I think one of them is a conditional second.
Yeah.
And then they like swapped first rounders, if I'm not mistaken, or something.
A year after they send a conditional first-round pick to the Eagles for Carson Wentz is traded once again to the Washington Commanders. And now you're reading all this stuff where he tried to make amends with Jim Irsay before the trade, and Jim Irsay said, no thanks. I don't want to talk to you. Is Carson Wentz just like, I mean, like, he seems like, you know, a nice guy and always friendly and, you know, a real, you know, Jesus guy. And it just turns out that maybe he's just kind of an asshole. Like, I don't know what the deal is. And yes, I understand that the stats don't really, you know, tell the whole story. 27 touchdowns to 7 picks. I get it. There's been, you know, everyone keeps talking about the play that he just threw the ball up in the air against the Titans that was returned for a pick 6. He played like shit against the Raiders. He played like shit against the Jaguars when they needed that game. I get it. But same thing with the Seahawks. I cannot believe for a second that the Colts don't have a game plan because they're not in rebuild mode. They are a quarterback away from being a great team. So you don't make this move to trade away Carson Wentz without believing you're going to get another quarterback. Am I wrong there?
Well, no, because Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go there.
Okay, so here's the latest with this situation with the Colts, in my opinion. Yes, Jimmy Garoppolo is in the mix, but if you're the Colts, this will be the 5th season where you are getting a new starting quarterback.
Mhm.
Started with Andrew Luck, then they went to Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz,
You
to
know
be
how
determined.
the first time I realized that they went through 5 quarterbacks in 5 years was because of Darius Leonard's tweet. I felt so bad for the guy.
He's a little upset.
It's like 5 quarterbacks in 5 years. Here we go again.
Well, it's funny that I'm sure, I haven't heard any players say they don't like Carson, but it's apparent that, Chris Ballard, the owner, Jim Irsay, even Frank Reich saying, I stuck my neck out for him. Something happened. And I don't know if it's
That's a big neck that Frank Reich has, by the way. That's
for Carson Wentz or for Frank Reich?
Well, for Frank Reich, it's just like, damn. Thinking about it, Reich might have the longest neck out of any head coach, like the Mike Glennon of NFL head coaches. But no, the thing is, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, but they were talking about leadership qualities. Did we talk about that on the last pod?
A little bit.
With Wentz. Yeah. When I'm hearing leadership qualities, I'm not thinking in my head, oh no, he doesn't motivate he doesn't try to motivate his players. Quarterbacks have to. They're, you got to get guys in line. You're trying to do that. When I hear all this stuff with Wentz, going back to his time with North Dakota State, going back to his time with the Eagles, he just got to be an odd guy. He leadership qualities, okay, but there's also just being able to connect to the players and actually have them listen to you. With Jameis Winston, when he was eating the W's and we saw the weird looks that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were giving him, primarily Deshaun Jackson, which is still one of my favorite pictures of all time. There had to have been something there where it's okay, he's in the huddle and he's giving us this talk, but why am I going to listen to this guy? There's got to be some of that going on, because you were talking about it all season, and you were right about, Carson Wentz can still play, and 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, nothing to scoff at. And I'm not here for the conversation about whether Wentz or Jimmy is better. It's no, Wentz is better than Jimmy. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. So if you're talking about just a guy who's cool in the locker room, who players, want to listen to if they're gonna talk it up a little bit, I mean, Wentz has to be just an odd dude. Where they just don't listen to him. It's why am I listening to you?
Yeah, it's bad when the coach that went to bat for him, Frank Reich, the guy that he knows in Philadelphia, is I had enough too. Yeah. And it may just be that it was out of his hands, and he's I'm sure he was pleading with them, just one more season with Carson, and Jim Irsay's nope, we're not doing this again. And it's interesting to me that, yes, I'm glad you said it, Steven, Carson Wentz has his flaws, but he's not better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, is Jimmy Garoppolo a better fit for the Colts? Possibly, because that offense just runs through Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have Jimmy Garoppolo do a whole lot. However, this shoulder surgery is becoming a big, big thing. And Jimmy Garoppolo will be traded. But I'm sure teams are also God, are we that desperate that we are going to trade for a guy that we're not going to see throw until July? He may have better leadership skills. He may be one of the guys. He may be exactly what the Colts need. On the other side, he could be injured too, and then you're playing Sam Ehlinger, and the Colts are in this position all over again. Mm-hmm. So I understand the hesitancy with the Colts, but I do think they should make the move to get Jimmy Garoppolo. But I am hearing that Jimmy Garoppolo is their last decision for quarterback. The Colts, while they do not have a first-round pick because they traded it for Carson Wentz, they are in the mix. They are trying to convince teams who already have quarterbacks to send them their way. They're trying to get Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. And Derek Carr has been rumored to be wanted in Cleveland, which that would be interesting now that they got Amari Cooper. But I think a couple weeks ago or a week ago, we talked about quarterbacks that we thought were not going to move. It sounds like Kirk Cousins, who I thought was going to be the focal point of the offense for Kevin O'Connell, who knows him from Washington, it sounds like he is now being discussed in trade scenarios. And I didn't know this. This is his final year on his contract with the Vikings. Same thing with Derek Carr. Even though Josh McDaniels has said all this stuff, I am hearing just through rumors and shit, the same stuff that you could see as well.
Oh,
That
okay. That's why I had the confused
No,
look on
I'm-
my face. I'm like, what? You
no,
got
no.
sources here? What are
No,
you?
no, no,
Just
no, no, no,
a
no, no.
reporter on Just Your Opinion, man?
I wish I could break my own news.
Let's go to
No.
DairyP.com. Big J journalist.
Dairy P's got the scoop, baby. No, from what everything has been reported, Jason La Canfora seems to believe that Kirk Cousins can be traded for. That's a big contract. I didn't know he was going to be a free agent after this season, so that is telling. And then Derek Carr, it sounds like he is not. He is not on the table. The Raiders do want him, but his name has been brought up in discussions with the Colts and with the Browns. So this Carson Wentz move and all these quarterback moves have huge implications. Just where's Jimmy going to play? Is Derek going to be part of the mix now? I can't believe I'm saying this, but would Josh McDaniels, who knows Jimmy Garoppolo, want Jimmy Garoppolo with the Raiders?
Well, see,
Um,
this is the thing with Derek Carr. Like, it might be in their best interest if the Colts are willing to give up a hefty price for him. I don't know why they'd go to Jimmy Garoppolo. That'd just be a lateral move. If you're trying to clear up some cap space, maybe sign some additional guys, then okay, then I can actually understand it. But if you're just trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, then you're just paying $25 million for a lesser quarterback than Derek Carr. I don't see that making sense for them. I do see them just feeling like, hey, we're not in a rebuild, but we are going to stockpile some draft picks here and try and build our team even more so that we can compete with the AFC West right now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I still think they're going to stick with Derek Carr regardless, but
Yeah.
trading him for Jimmy, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. I understand the narrative with the McDaniels and all that, the reunion, but like business-wise, I don't see that.
For the Raiders, you mean?
Yeah, for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they do that. If they traded Carr for just a bevy of picks and then, I don't know, signed a free agent, hey, let's get Cam Newton to play for us for a year. I don't know.
Oh, God, no.
Let's get Tyrod Taylor to play for us for a year. I don't know who it is, but maybe we'll just bring back Marcus for another year. I don't know.
God.
But, like, you know, it's just weird, man. I think Jimmy's going to the Colts, though. That's really where I'm going.
I do too. I just think the owner is probably going to be like, we're really going to settle for Jimmy Garoppolo. And I get it. Like, but it sounds like they want him, and it sounds like they don't need, like, I know this sounds crazy, but they don't need much out of the quarterback position when you have a running back like that and you have the defense. The problem you run into with trading for a Derek Carr or a Kirk Cousins when you don't have a first-round pick is you start taking pieces of your team and trading into the other team. So while it sounds good on paper to have Derek Carr on the Colts or Kirk Cousins on the Colts, it's not the same team if you're trading away DeForest Buckner or Michael Pittman. You still need all those pieces for them to be a successful team. But it's funny to me, Steven, at the same time where, you know, the talking point after Russell Wilson is traded to the Denver Broncos is Derek Carr is the worst quarterback in the AFC West. That may be. But you ask around the league, and teams want him. It started a year ago with the Patriots. They wanted him. That's why Josh McDaniels is happy to have Derek Carr right now. But I still think it's telling that other teams that need a quarterback want Derek Carr. And look at me. Oh, God. The Raiders should be happy to have him.
You're revealing. You're revealing.
You caught me slipping there. I've been saying that for most of my life, Steve. What do you expect?
You're revealing something about yourself here, Derek. Something that I think is hidden deep down inside. It's like a little bean inside of the dirt. It's like a beanstalk waiting to grow. Your Raider fandom. It's dug deep somewhere in there. You have it. But
you call me Jack? And the beans inside of me?
Yeah. Also, I wonder though, what were the jersey sales like for Carson Wentz with Indianapolis last year? I know we're focused so much on the field, but there's also got to be something where the Colts are saying, we don't really have a quarterback that's going to stack up against the AFC. At the very least, we can get a guy who's going to bring some of the female fan base to watch our games a little more, get the ratings up, and get a guy who's going to be selling jerseys. Garoppolo jerseys, no matter where you go, those number 10s, they're going to be flying off the shelf. So from a merchandise sales perspective, He's the number one guy right there. I don't know what it's been like with Carson Wentz this past year. I don't know what it was like with Phillip Rivers the year previous to that. I don't know what it was like with Jacoby Brissett. I can imagine that it was probably not very good ever since Andrew Luck's been gone. So if you want your jersey sales up and you want more females to watch your games, you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, Jimmy Garoppolo would be the best looking man of all of Indianapolis if he goes to the Colts.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, just the entirety of the Midwest.
Yeah. And you're sleeping on Carson Wentz. I think those jersey sales are going to go sell when he's rocking a nice 2 and Commander maroon.
Oh, gosh, the Wentz Commander jersey.
And I can't wait for him to play Philly twice a year. Oh, boy.
Commander Carson.
Yeah. If you thought Ben Simmons had it bad just sitting on the bench the other night, wait for Carson Wentz to go back to Philadelphia.
I also don't think that Washington's going to be that bad of a football team either.
I don't either.
Their
I think
defense underperformed last year.
Despite the fact that we're making fun of Carson Wentz this whole week for getting traded once again, I think this is a pretty good move. I think that right now Carson Wentz is the second best quarterback in the NFC East. So, and yes, people, I am saying Carson Wentz is better than Jalen Hurts. But yeah, I think that the Washington Commanders could be a good team with Carson Wentz playing well. They just needed a quarterback too. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins could be in the mix. Derek Carr could be in the mix. I still think those guys stay, but I shouldn't dismiss this guy's reporting anymore. But Vinny Bonsignore thinks that the Raiders will be in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. And let's talk about that real quick. Yesterday, came down as kind of expected. Deshaun Watson faces no criminal charges. And the reaction seemed to be, yay, Deshaun Watson gets to be traded, while not thinking about the 22 women that were part of the lawsuit. Nice one, Adam Schefter. But in reality, that is what's going to happen. Deshaun Watson most likely will be traded sometime soon. And I doubt the Raiders are going to be the ones to land him. Who knows? At this point, I would expect it's going to be either the Carolina Panthers or the Seattle Seahawks. You have to think that they want to upgrade after losing Russell Wilson.
Let me pull these up because the favorites, and these are the betting favorites. I know you're not big on betting, but I do think that some of these are pretty good indicators of what could happen. But the last time that I was actually looking at it with Spadoni, because as naturally, whenever this happens, Spadoni and I are chopping it up about whether the Raiders should get him or not. And according to the Action Network, which was the sports betting whatever thing
website.
Oh, wow. Good for you, man. These are new betting odds. Yesterday it was the Buccaneers who are at plus 300, then the Steelers who are at plus 350. Look at this.
Carolina
Seahawks plus 250. So they're the betting favorites right now.
They are.
Then the Panthers
are
right behind them at plus 300. Look at you.
Yeah, I just, I watch football. I understand what quarterbacks are needed.
Man,
so
what the hell happened? The Raiders they were at a plus 1,600 yesterday, which was like 7th, I think, or 7th or 8th. Now they're at plus 6,600. What the hell happened there?
Do you think Mark Davis, given his track record with trying to look good for PR circumstances, do you think he really wants Deshaun Watson on the team?
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
But he's also not a smart football mind. And if you're looking for what you want on the field, I mean, Deshaun Watson and trading for him at the contract that he got a contract a couple of years ago. It's just starting to kick in now. 4 years, $156 million. He'd be paid about like $37 million a year, give or take a couple of million. And they're going to pay Derek Carr like a 2-year deal worth $40 million. Like if you're looking at it from a money perspective, you'd get Derek Carr for cheap this year because his contract's expiring. But after that, I mean, you'd essentially be giving up those draft picks. It would have to be 3 draft picks, the starting quarterback, and then another draft asset, and probably more after seeing what happened with Russell Wilson and getting more. But that was the last the Texans said that they wanted was 5 assets, 3 of them first-round picks. Then you could assume that the other one would be the starting quarterback. But the reason being, man, Derek Carr, after all this talk, he's the best available. I'd take Carr over Cousins. I'd take Carr over Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd take Carr over Wentz. So, I mean, if you're looking to get a starting quarterback in Houston, he'd be your guy. Can you imagine how Southern Derek Carr's accent would get when he goes to Houston?
Oh, it's already pretty Southern to begin with. I don't know
Oh
where he
my
gets
God!
that
Hey,
from.
I'm at the Country Music Awards. I'm doing like a mix of Southern, and I'm here. Thank you for coming to Allegiant Stadium. Oh man, I love all y'all.
There we go. I
Yeah,
was waiting for the oh man.
yeah. Oh man, I love
Oh
all
man.
y'all. Man, you're my
Oh
best. Oh
man.
man,
Thought I'd be a Raider for life.
I love you. You can come over to my house. We can play a little baseball with my kids. Uh, but can you imagine though, like Derek Carr going to Houston? Does he have bad memories there? Like, would he really
well,
wanna
hold
go there?
on. I don't know if that's a good fit.
Yeah,
Just given the track record with his brother.
yeah.
God, the fans there.
If he goes there, I'd call Houston the junkyard, just ruining cars.
Yeah. Look at you now. Yeah, that given the history with his brother, I don't think the Texans would want Derek Carr. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you would, obviously you would because he's a great player, but there's a lot of the fan base would be like, another Carr again that got sacked 76 times. I don't see it happening. At the end of the day, while these rumors are fun, I don't think Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins get traded. I do think the Panthers end up with Deshaun Watson. But you also have to prepare for Deshaun Watson to be suspended. I understand he sat out the whole year last year. He got paid for every game, though. That was 17 game checks of a huge contract going to Deshaun Watson for not playing. He wasn't punished. And we've seen in the past, Ben Roethlisberger, he got suspended 6 games, 4 games, whatever it was, for the Tahoe incident. Ezekiel Elliott got suspended for his incident with the woman. And those were not criminal charges. Jameis Winston, the same thing. You know, grabbing the Uber driver, no criminal charges. He was suspended 3 games. So I do think that Deshaun Watson, while he will be traded and on a new team, that new team will have to get a backup quarterback that's good because they may not have him for half of the season. I could see very well Carolina trading for Deshaun Watson and then like, all right, Cam, sell tickets for 8 weeks.
Yeah. No, that's or just sticking with Darnold, you know? I mean,
I would have to assume if they trade Watson, Darnold's probably in the package and he goes to Houston.
Interesting. Yeah, good point.
Because he's making $14 million, and if Deshaun Watson's on your team, you got to get Darnold out of there.
Gosh, can you imagine that? What pick do the Panthers have here in the draft?
They have 6th, so that's why I think they have the best odds of getting him because they have the highest draft pick between them and the Seahawks.
Wow, so the Texans get a 3 and a 6.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. And I mean the Buccaneers, they're low on the draft capital. Their cap space is not great. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. But they're in the mix too. I would say right now for the remaining quarterbacks, it sounds like Jimmy Garoppolo, they're going to the Colts, Steelers, or Saints, and Deshaun Watson's either going to the Seahawks, Panthers, or Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. And if the betting favorites are there, I mean, it's like you can have the lines open, and they could, you can try and predict it from there. But as they change and as they move, you can get a little more of a glimpse into the teams that are the favorites. I mean, yeah, Seahawks, Panthers, Buccaneers, then the Steelers too. The Steelers are right up there. I think the Steelers have a chance as well. I don't know, man. It's also going to be really hard to root for him. Like if he did go to the Raiders, I don't know how Chiefs fans feel watching Tyreek Hill and cheering everything that he does. Like I imagine that they just try and separate the art from the artist, although it's very hard to. The NFL sucks, man. I hate the NFL.
Well, at the same time, it's fun with all the trades and everything. But yes, it's
great. It makes you question your morality. And it's like, am I actually a good person if I watch this crap? Like, if I watch this stuff where a bunch of these guys have done some pretty bad things. I mean, I know I'm all about second chances for human beings. Don't get me wrong there, but it's like, these guys are getting a lot of nice treatment, even though they haven't treated people well in their past.
I get it. I completely understand that notion. I've learned a long time ago, you got to separate the art from the artist. That's why I'm able to still enjoy Kramer on Seinfeld. But yeah, it's tough. And I get it. Deshaun Watson, it'll be a very mixed reaction when he goes to whatever team he's going to go to. But I would assume, for the most part, fans will be overjoyed. But it'll be interesting. I expect this move to happen in the next couple of days here. And free agency officially starts on Monday. Officially Wednesday, but the tampering period goes crazy on Monday and Tuesday. and usually all the deals go sideways that day. And usually all the big names are off the board. So that's when I go crazy, Steven, because that's when I have to constantly check my phone for the next guy to be signed and the next guy to be signed and the next guy to be signed. So
Mhm.
let's do a little bit of free agency wish list
Ooh.
for the Raiders and the 49ers. Steven,
Oh.
do you have a guy that you want the Raiders to sign and to trade for?
Ooh, to sign and to trade for?
Two separate people. A person that is a free agent and a person that is under contract, but the Raiders should be trading for. Because while the Raiders still might be, I mean, they're a playoff team a year ago. This AFC West is going to be crazy next season. Obviously, with the Chiefs being what they are, Broncos getting Russell Wilson, the Chargers one game away from getting to the playoffs, and they add Khalil Mack, and then the Raiders, who went to the playoffs despite not having a head coach. They had Rich Bisaccia, but we all know the story with Gruden.
Yeah.
So after seeing Khalil Mack go to the Chargers and Russell Wilson going to the Broncos, you can't just stand pat. Like, what do the Raiders need to do here in the offseason?
Well, let's see. Trade-wise, wasn't ready for that because the guys that I wanted them to trade for are gone. Like Devontae Adams was that guy that I wanted them to trade for. I thought Devontae Adams would have fit perfectly with the Raiders and gone for his best bud Derek Carr from Fresno State. So that would have been the one guy. I'm not worried about the Raiders trading for anybody. Like, don't give up any of your assets. You got a good enough team here. Like, you don't need to make any drastic changes. Now, free agency wise, my number one guy, and I'm primarily saying this because I saw this on ESPN and the beat writers think this can be possible with Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels, and how excited I am because of new defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, who said that his defense is going to be an illusion of complexity. But J.C. Jackson from the New England Patriots, the number one cornerback. I think that's the guy I think that can be the perfect fit for the Raiders. They need somebody new to replace Casey Hayward. Trayvon Mullen, he's great. He was hurt last year and was really slow to come back. Nate Hobbs is awesome. So if they can add another guy to their cornerbacks there, and then you got Jonathan Abrams and Trayvon Merrick, and maybe you draft another guy in this year, I'm feeling very good about that secondary. And more than the pass rush, I like the pass rush they got now. Maybe they could sign someone else. And I would love a big name pass rusher too. But if you have defensive backs that are that damn good, I'd be feeling all right. I'd be feeling all right there going up against these quarterbacks that can be prone to turn the ball over.
So you assume that Casey Hayward's leaving and probably going to sign with the Colts, given that Gus Bradley.
Casey Hayward's gone. Him and Gus Bradley were in lockstep with each other. They loved each other. I think he's going to be going to the Colts.
I expect that as well. For me, I would say that J.C. Jackson, while I do think is a great player, I don't know how he's going to look outside of New England. Even though he's gotten a lot of interceptions the last few seasons, it's either just Bill being just stubborn and not willing to break the bank for one individual player. But there has to be something there where he doesn't want to sign him back or even franchise tag the guy. So, and it may just be this Bill being like, I can find someone equally as good. I draft well, so that could be the case. I would say that the Raiders realistically would probably Stephon Gilmore is more reasonable, I think, just because J.C. Jackson's going to garner a lot of attention and may sign. I mean, shit, it'd be crazy, but I would not be the least bit surprised if he's made the highest paid corner in all of football.
Yeah.
But a guy that I have listed here, and I brought this up before, while the Raiders do have good pass rushers right now in Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue, I don't think Yannick Ngakoue is going to be on the team going forward. I think that they are going to change up this defense to a 3-4 set. And we saw Yannick play outside linebacker. We got news?
No news. Just want to correct you here.
Sorry.
It's not going to be a 3-4 or a 4-3 defense, according to Patrick Graham. I told you, illusion of complexity. He's going to turn it into.
Yeah, he's going to be a magician with his defensive. Yeah, I get it.
It's going to be a 4-2-5, is what he said.
Oh,
a 4-2-5 defense. 4 linemen.
That's a lot of secondary.
5 DBs. Let's go. 3-4-4-3's in the past, Derek. Just take that and put it on your broken treadmill and just leave it in your room,
You still play that in a base defense, but I get it. For the most part, when you go down to third down, you're changing up your coverage. You're mostly in the nickel for most of the time. I get it. But I do think that's how Patrick Graham wants to operate. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
And his name hasn't been brought up with this, so it may just be a pipe dream. I think that you got to match with what's going on with, we're hearing that Zadarius Smith, if he's cut, could go to the Chiefs, and then Frank Clark could be cut. Obviously Khalil Mack back in the AFC West goes to the Chargers. I think you got to match them. I would be interested in seeing how much Chandler Jones would cost for the Raiders.
Yeah.
And matching him up with who I think is going to join the Raiders soon too, Kyle Van Noy. I think that they're going to try to replicate the Patriots defense. It may just be that Chandler Jones is just way too expensive. And, he could be misleading as well because he had 5 sacks in week 1. Finished with 10.5 for the season. So not great.
Yeah.
But I do think he's going to get a massive contract. Or maybe not. Maybe people also look at that and say, he's not getting the quarterback as much as he used to. I could see him going to the Raiders. I could also see him cashing out and going to, not a big team, a team that has enough salary cap, but a team that, is not going to compete, and he just cashes in on the money. As far as a guy that the Raiders could trade for, Devontae Adams getting scooped up and the franchise tag doesn't help. But a guy that Josh McDaniels knows and knew him for a season with the Patriots, and I think they're going to be shedding a lot of salary with, trying to get Deshaun Watson off the team. I think Brandon Cooks could be a guy the Raiders go after, another deep threat. Obviously they're missing Zay Jones is a free agent, but obviously Henry Ruggs was their deep guy. They needed to find a new guy, a speed guy, and Brandon Cooks could fit that role. So you have Brandon Cooks, you got Hunter Renfrow, you got Bryan Edwards, and you got the 2 tight end set with Darren Waller and Foster Moreau. I think that could be really good offensively if they make a trade, probably like a 3rd-round pick for Brandon Cooks.
I'd be into that. I haven't even thought about Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is another one of those weird guys who, I don't know. It's just he
jumps
from
team to team.
Yeah, he just bounces from team to team. Like, what's going on with you, man? To be honest, man, I haven't even thought about it. I've been paying attention more to free agents and what they can do there. But Brandon Cooks, if you're giving up a mid-rounder for him, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah,
I also think the thing is too, the thing that's hard to, and what I want them to get, I'm not so focused on wide receiver. They could actually get a pretty good wide receiver at number 22 if they play if they fall to them. But I want to see them get another offensive lineman, man.
Yeah,
someone to shore it up because Leatherwood was not good. I don't know if they're going to make him go to right tackle. I don't know if you sign a free agent right tackle. I'm actually looking at him right now. And this could actually apply for both the Raiders and the Niners because both those teams, I think, are in need of guys to help you on the right side. But Morgan Moses from the Jets, he's 31 years old. I think that he could be a good fit for both the Raiders and the Niners. The Niners especially because he played along with Trent Williams before, along in Washington and with Kyle Shanahan. So I could see that happening. But as far as pass rushers go, if you want the Raiders to match that, I love the Chandler Jones idea. I'm all about it. Jadeveon Clowney's a free agent.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know if the Browns are going to plan on re-signing him. I know that he played in 14 games last year and he had 9 sacks and 19 quarterback hits. I wouldn't mind that. Something in the trenches. I'm not even worried about their skill guys. I'm not worried about receiver. I'm not worried maybe a little bit about cornerback, but somebody in the trenches too who can just give you something because good Lord, man, what the Raiders are going to be going up against twice a year.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty, man. It's really not.
No. That's why they got to prepare and they got to match it. Yeah, the first thing I thought of when Khalil Mack went to the Chargers was, are the Raiders going to be able to block him? And right now, I would say no. And then you got to think, are the Raiders going to be able to block Joey Bosa? Are they be able to block whoever the Chiefs are going to roll out? Not Chandler Jones, Chris Jones. Are they going to be able to block Bradley Chubb even? Yeah. Right now, the Raiders got through that season with a subpar offensive line. And with how great the quarterbacks are, you got to be able to match offensively with those teams now. So they got to make some upgrades. It's not a lot because I still think that when it's all said and done, I would say the Raiders right now are in the middle of the pack, as far as the AFC. But as far as, the AFC West, I wouldn't say they're the worst team in the division. I just don't know what these teams are going to look like going forward. We still got a lot of moves to make. So I wouldn't say the Raiders are the worst team yet, but they do got to make some moves to answer with what the Chargers and Broncos have done the last 2 days.
And Stephon Gilmore, by the way, you brought that up
Yeah.
earlier. The defensive backs and pass game coordinator,
Yep.
Jason Simmons, who just
Carolina.
spent his past 2 years with Carolina. So that could very well be happening. Interesting stuff there, Derek. Look at you.
Yeah. I've been studying, Steven.
Now what's gonna happen with Brandon Scherf? I wonder what's
Brandon
gonna happen
Scherf?
with Brandon Scherf. He's a free agent
think-
this year, and I like him.
Yeah. I think that if there's one team that needs to go overboard with offensive linemen, we saw it in the Super Bowl and they have cap space. If I were the Cincinnati Bengals, I would sign Teron Armstead, the best left tackle in free agency, and I would sign Brandon Scherf, the best guard in free agency, and you don't have to worry about that shit anymore with your franchise quarterback getting pummeled 7 times in a Super Bowl.
Ooh. If they do that, I mean the AFC North, that may force the Steelers to try and pay up a pretty penny for Deshaun Watson, huh?
I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to Pittsburgh. They almost traded away Ben Roethlisberger after his Tahoe incident.
Yeah, almost.
Almost.
But they
Almost.
didn't. And they kept him there.
And I know
for
they
the
got
rest of his
Brian
career.
Flores. Yeah, no, that's true. And I know they got Brian Flores on the coaching staff who has been trying to get Deshaun Watson since a year ago. But I don't see that happening in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I know you're right. Let me
For the
think.
Niners.
Oh, by the way, the Raiders releasing Corey Littleton, fantastic.
Yeah. So,
Thank God.
but that move doesn't happen until June 1st, right?
Correct. So they could save a bunch of their salary cap.
But I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true, you could designate a move to happen in June 1st, and that will reflect the cap now.
Yeah, that's what they're
Interesting. Interesting. Niners, who do you want on your wish list for them, free agency wise and trade wise?
Anyone that's a cornerback.
Yep.
Any cornerback at all. I guess J.C. Jackson will work for them too, but they don't have the money right now, and they're
Well, as soon as they trade away Jimmy, they'll have some more money.
Well, they'll trade away Jimmy. They're probably not going to re-sign Laken Tomlinson, so you're going to want a guard there. But anybody.
But didn't they draft a guard?
They drafted Aaron Banks, yeah, but he didn't even play last year. Like, if you really want to,
I think it's time for John Lynch and the Niners to play the guys they drafted. I know, I get it. Trey Lance, time to play. Who was the other guy? Banks?
Aaron Banks.
Aaron Banks. You got to play too. Second round pick. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, no, you're right. But cornerback wise, anybody, whether it's J.C. Jackson or Carlton Davis from the Buccaneers or
that's a good one.
Darius Williams from the LA Rams, who is opposite Jalen Ramsey. Like any cornerback at all, they need to get somebody new there.
I was thinking the same thing, Steven. I put down Kyle Fuller. Great nickel corner. Actually, I don't know if he plays nickel, but he's kind of on the shorter side, 5'11". They got to find a guy that could cover Cooper Kupp is basically what they need to do. And they could easily sign back, or Bryce Callahan, actually. Bryce Callahan is a good nickel corner. They could sign back K'Wan Williams or Jason Verrett. I understand the injury history, but I think they got to sign multiple corners because I always say his name wrong. Aubrey. Shows some promise, but you don't want to rely on him. And they also got Emmanuel Mosley. They got a good team. They don't have to make a lot of moves, but they do got to make some moves. But they got to get a really good few corners on the team to compete with the Rams.
Where was let me see here. He struggled toward the end of the season. Originally, it was really good, but K'Wan Williams, I think he's still with them. I know he was like a restricted free agent this year. Not sure what's going to happen with him. Maybe they tendered his contract or whatever that term's called. It's really random.
No,
So, yeah,
he's a street free agent ready to sign with anybody.
wow. How about
Yeah.
that? Good Lord. I got to do my research here.
And
So-
Jason Verrett, who we all know has the injury history, but
Yeah, but they still believe in him. They still
Yeah.
believe in Verrett, and I do too. It was one of my favorite just storylines a couple of years ago, with him coming back
from the town.
But literally, man, anyone for the Niners to sign in the secondary, like that's what they need to do. That's what they
I
need to
agree.
do. Offensively, they're fine. They're totally fine. If they don't sign,
You don't think they need to add another wide receiver?
No, they don't think they really need to.
I wouldn't say they need to. Like if Trey Lance is your starter going forward, he had a nice connection with Trent Sherfield in the preseason. I love to see what they could do there, or Juwan Jennings at times. Yeah, I'm in
so
agreement.
there you go. Yeah, that's the guy I forgot. Juwan Jennings. So they got him. I don't think they're going to make any additions. Maybe they could, but it's going to be like another, Travis Benjamin type of signing where it's like a
That's true.
veteran that you've totally forgotten about, where it's like, oh, they caught a deep ball once.
So you don't think the Niners need to trade for anybody that's significant?
No, they don't. I mean, what do they have to trade? They traded anything worth of value. It's like they want draft picks, man. I remember when Lynch was in that draft where it was like they had a first, and I think they actually had a second. Maybe they had a second in that draft, and they just didn't have a pick till the 5th round. Like John Lynch is like, man, I just don't have any picks till now. He didn't have a 3rd and a 4th. I think he had a 1st and a 2nd, but didn't have a 3rd and a 4th because of what they traded away. Or no, they traded the 2nd to get Dee Ford, so they didn't have a 2nd that draft, and they weren't drafting until the 5th round. So,
by the way, just releasing Dee Ford only saves them like $1 million or $2 million. Crazy.
Yeah. Talk about it.
So they got to get this Jimmy deal done.
Oh, yeah. There's some things that have to go right for them, but I think the number one thing, dude, is the secondary. Like I don't know whether it was and also somebody for the special teams too. That special teams was awful last year, and I think they fired their guy Richard Hightower, who was the special teams coordinator, and got a new one. So they need to do something there, man. I don't know what it's going to be, but trade Jimmy first. Get him off that.
Well,
team.
Richard Hightower is the reason they won that playoff game in Green Bay. And
Good
who
point.
did he go to? The Chicago Bears.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Rich Bisaccia with the Packers.
Oh, there you go. If I had to say one player the Niners should look to trade for, isn't it obvious? The guy that's going to be their starting quarterback this season, Tom Brady. No, I'm kidding. They're not trading for Tom Brady. I think that I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this all offseason either. The Aaron Rodgers stuff is done. We'll see what happens with Tom Brady. I'm not ruling out that he plays this season, but it's not going to be for the goddamn Niners. Hopefully.
We got till June 1st, man. June 1st.
When does that Man in the Arena come out? April?
So June 1st.
Can you imagine if he makes his dad? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, June 1st is that time when the Buccaneers want to trade him or whatever. They puts him on the reserve retired list officially so that they can like save basically half of the dead cap from him.
Yeah. Well, if you're the Buccaneers and you don't land Deshaun Watson or anybody, and you don't, you're not really happy about your draft, do you go to Tom and say, what can we do to make it come back? Because at this point, like, the Buccaneers may be up Schitt's Creek with quarterback situation.
I mean, why wouldn't they? It's like you have a chance if he comes back and he says, hey, can we make this work? Or if you can go to them and say, hey, can we make this work? Why wouldn't you? It's weird. He just wants out. Like, he just wants out and he's willing to go to another team. Like, if you're the Bucs, and you're Jason Light, you're like, hey, man, I thought we were buds. I know you and the head coach didn't get along, but at least I'm here for you. At least we could have a little avocado toast and shoot the shit.
Yeah. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think watching that whenever that Man in the Arena comes out will be telling as far as how we truly believe Tom Brady's going to handle retirement. Because he's got his dad, and if you know anything about Tom Brady, he is close with his dad immensely. If he's in that documentary just crying his eyes out, I can't believe that he's going to flip it and say like, "Oh, Dad, all those tears were for nothing. I'm going to play." So yeah, I think it honestly will be telling of whether or not Tom Brady's going to play this season, because it'll either be like him reflecting and being honest and saying, I'm done, or it's him just being like, I still got, more shit to do. But as far as the 49ers, I don't think that's happening. But as far as a player that the Niners could trade for, I said in the last podcast, I think that while they don't need to get another wide receiver because that's not only their offense, they got Debo and they got Brandon Ayuk. But I think they've always wanted a nice tight end to pair up with George Kittle, and this guy knows Kyle Shanahan very well from his Atlanta days. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade a low draft pick for Austin Hooper.
So you're still on this, huh?
I'm still on it, Steven. I'm still on it.
We had this conversation already. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just giving you a name. I'm giving you a draft. I'm giving you some trade bait. Some
I told you,
the Niner fans to look forward to. I'm just giving some stuff, Steve.
I think they're going to draft a tight end. I think they're going to draft a tight end in 2022.
I don't. This tight end class is not good either.
Isn't it? Everything I've seen is it's very good.
I've heard differently, and I've heard that the only guy worth a damn is that UCLA guy.
Who have you heard? Like, do you hear this or do you read it?
I listen to other people talk, and I've heard that the tight end class is not fantastic.
I guess you do work at NFL Network.
I do, Steven.
Who on Game Day Access Live said this?
I'm listening to a lot. I'm listening to Daniel Jeremiah. I'm listening to Bucky Brooks.
Hell yeah. Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky. Hey, move the sticks, baby. Let's go.
There you go. I'm also listening to a guy I used to work with that knows this stuff pretty well, John Middlecoff.
Oh.
And we'll
promo
see
code
here
ham.
if,
Isn't that promo code ham?
Yeah. Promo code ham.
I love that.
And who knows? We may be hearing some draft analyst reports from old Mikey Mayock soon. I'm not here to break any news. I just think that they may include him in the draft coverage.
Wow.
Wouldn't be surprised by that.
Is that just your opinion, or is that just...
That is 100%. I do not know anything, but I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if for draft...
It would make so much sense.
Yes. Just for those 3 days, because he doesn't want to do all the other bullshit. I would not be the least bit surprised if Mike Mayock is part of the coverage with Daniel Jeremiah and Rich Eisen. Yes.
I'm sorry. I mean, this has nothing to do with football. But from Jeff Vithpassen, the New York Mets and the Oakland A's are in agreement on a trade that would send right-handed starter Chris Bassett to the Mets. So Chris Bassett, another domino to fall.
So basically, it's the New York A's.
Yes. Except
Starling Marte,
because these guys are players. So, I mean, they're New York A's to A's fans, but no one else cares.
Okay, I get it. But how many former A's are on the Mets now?
Well, you got
Starling Marte.
Who else? I don't know. I gotta look back at the Mets roster.
Isn't
Oh gosh, hang on. Let me look.
Wait, is it Simeon on the Mets now?
That he is.
There we go.
Hang on. Let me look. Give me a second here.
Come on, Steven. You're the baseball guy here.
Let me make sure. Well, to be honest with you, what's funny is I totally forgot about like all these guys. Mark Canna's the one.
Mark Canna.
Not Marcus Simeon's with the Blue Jays. He's been gone with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he's still on the Blue Jays.
Yeah. What am I thinking? Good Lord, I'm embarrassing myself right now.
Mark Canna.
Mark
Canna. So they got 3 A's. So they got 3 A's.
Yes.
So Matt Olson and Matt Chapman will be part of the Mets soon.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But Chris Bassett. Oh, wow. Good for him.
So they got Bassett and
they got Bassett. They got
Scherzer.
Max Scherzer. They got Jacob deGrom.
Oh yeah, deGrom's still on the Mets. Good Lord.
Oh my God, they're gonna be loaded. And then they got my guy Joey Lucchesi, who I played baseball with back in the day.
Look at you.
Yeah. Used to catch bullpen. It's pretty funny. He does the exact same warm up. Because this dude, like we were playing travel ball, right? And there was a moment where I was hurt. My shoulder, like my rotator cuff, I don't know what was wrong with it. I could barely throw, but I always had to be the bullpen catcher at the time when I was hurt. And he would go into that thing and he'd warm up with like 50 pitches. I'm like, dude, ease up. This is tournament. We're 13 years old. You don't need to do this anymore. 20 and we're gone. You know, like, but this dude, he has the exact same windup as when he would even go in the bullpen. Fantastic stuff. So I'm glad that he's with them. Wow. What a time.
What a time, man. Hey, who'd have thunk? Not us.
Not me.
Not me. All right. What else did I
Sorry,
have
just,
planned
yeah,
for
I
this?
just totally derailed it, but I had
No,
to
no,
get
no,
that
no.
bacon
It's
in the
I wanted to hear that news. So God, that sucks.
yeah, yeah, it does.
You know what else sucks for baseball fans? Maybe if you like this guy. It's funny that the day after baseball returns, it sounds like one of the biggest voices for the MLB is not going to be on Fox anymore.
Mm.
Joe Buck, love him or hate him, is reportedly getting out of his contract with Fox to go to ESPN to join Troy Aikman for Monday Night Football. I don't know what that means for his baseball career because he is the voice of baseball on Fox, does the World Series. I would
Yeah.
assume that they would give him Sunday Night Baseball, but I don't know, man. Like, if you're Joe Buck, like that's a sweet gig at Fox. I don't know about going to ESPN.
What are you going to tell Joe Buck what to do with his life now? The
Yes,
life
I
choices?
am. So now on ESPN we'll just hear Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Mitchell
Mitchell.
to the 20 Mitchell.
That's one of my favorite ones. Mitchell. Mitchell. You know what's
That's
the
a
funny,
disgusting act on ESPN.
you know what's the funniest part is when you look that up on YouTube and it's the caption like Joe Buck's worst calls or whatever. It's just so funny that you're expecting to hear like the worst calls, and then it's the Super Bowl, and it's a guy returning what looks like he's
Mitchell.
going to be all the way, and he's just like Mitchell. So you just combine all that, and it makes it more funny. Look, man, I know you're not high on Aikman, but I think they're a great pairing. I think it's a great move for ESPN for Monday Night Football. Again, we had this conversation about like ratings and stuff. How does it work with ESPN, ESPN2? Are they separate? Do they combine them? Like what? How does it go? I mean, if you got two guys who are, I mean, very well known among the football world in Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, and they're very entertaining. And now you also got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. If anything, I think this is going to decrease viewership for the Manning cast. But I've always liked Buck and Aikman, man. It always had the feeling of a big game during the regular season whenever Buck and Aikman are doing it. So I'm happy for Monday Night Football.
I am too, in the sense that, it will make Monday Night Football feel like a big deal again. It just seems weird to me that they would go from a network, time slot. They always had the best games on Fox. They did, the NFC. So all of the, the biggest, the Cowboys, the Rams, pick a team in the NFC. They're the combo. And now they're going to do the whole league. But I would love to see what the schedule is going to be like because ESPN's on cable and they usually get the shittiest games. But that's going to change apparently now with the simulcast with ABC. So you're right on the money, Steven. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman is a bigger draw than Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Louis Riddick.
Mm-hmm.
And I would assume that more people want to listen to Buck and Aikman now. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that are still going to want to watch the Manning cast. But it does make things even where, it's a listenable broadcast now as opposed to before where you just want to listen to Peyton and Eli, just shoot the shit.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think Buck, he's perfect for baseball, though. I do think he's like prototypical voice where it's just slow. He can bring some comedy to it.
Yeah.
And, I think he's an absolute pro at letting the moment be the moment within baseball, which is more than just as much as any other sport because of the home run trot and all that. It's just like, Ishikawa, home run! And he's like silent for 15 minutes.
That's pretty good. That's what he's doing with Mitchell. He's letting the moment be the moment.
Yeah. Well, except with that one, that looked like a moment that was going to be a moment, and he had no excitement. Like, if you would have just heard that call, you would not know that it was like almost a kick return for an opening touchdown.
Yeah.
You would have thought it was like a fly ball to left field. Mitchell.
The play we're talking about is the opening play of the 2002 NFC Championship game with the Buccaneers and the Eagles, and it is just literally Brian Mitchell taking the kick all the way down to the 20, and all you hear is just Joe Buck go, Mitchell, down to the 20, Mitchell. It'll be interesting, which makes me believe. So ESPN doesn't do a lot of baseball anymore. They do Sunday Night Baseball, and they're doing their own simulcast with, K-Rod.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's going to be terrible. But is he going to do Sunday Night Baseball now? Where they just announced that Dan Schulman took that job over again because Matt Vasgersian's focusing more on being the Angels play-by-play guy. They don't do a lot of baseball anymore, so I guess just once a week, but Joe Buck will do the biggest game in baseball and the biggest game in football. Which begs the question now, is Kevin Burkhardt going to be the face of Fox Sports now, where he's the baseball guy and the number one football guy with Sean Payton?
Looking that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's looking that way.
Ooh.
Interesting. A lot of spiciness going on with the NFL, with players and the broadcasters. Spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Steven.
Yes.
The Warriors looked bad. And we talked about it last week. Their terrible performance and their loss to the Lakers. I won't say terrible performance all the way around, but it was a close game. But to lose to that team, ugh. And then they rest everybody and play the Denver Nuggets and lose that game. So they're on a 5-game losing streak, and they've lost control of the second seed in the West. And then, what day was it? Tuesday? Tuesday night.
You're really setting this up well.
Oh, yeah, baby. Tuesday night, things changed. Thanks to the man that has one of the best songs of all time, Love Me Sexy. Jackie Moon saved the Warriors season. Just like the toaster years ago with the fan wanting Klay Thompson to sign the toaster, Will Ferrell goes out of his way to email Steve Kerr and say, Steve, big fan of Klay Thompson. I know he's a big fan of mine. I would love to come and warm up with you guys as Jackie Moon. Steve Kerr, not realizing that it's actually Will Ferrell, does not respond to the emails, thinking that's a joke. Then Raymond Ritter has to tell Steve Kerr that actually is Will Ferrell. He's like, oh, sweet. Tell him to come down. And it was hilarious. The shot where they have all of them running out of the tunnel, and then it's just Will Ferrell running out at the end. And I guess Klay Thompson didn't know until they were on the court, but his face when he saw Jackie Moon like closing in on him and warming up with them, I think it's going to save the season, my friend, because they are 2-0 since Jackie Moon warmed up with them. And I think this is a direct response. The same week that Winning Time comes out, the big Lakers show that Will Ferrell was denied in to play Jerry Buss, he's turned the corner now, becoming a Warriors fan and helping them out with their season. So I think this is huge. They had, obviously they beat the Clippers the other night, and the Clippers, even though they're going to probably be a playoff team, they're not great. And then they beat the Denver Nuggets, who had a lot of games in a row, and Jokic just getting tired. But to go into Denver and win that game, I thought was huge. 2-0 since Jackie Moon hit the court, my friend. Things are turning around for the Warriors.
Jackie Moon will take care of you, baby. He's like Bambi's mother. He'll never let anything bad happen to you. Bambi's mother got shot, right?
Yeah, opening credits.
First
my favorite part.
Credits were still rolling and everything.
My favorite part is Andre 3000. Who the fuck is Bambi?
Oh, it was the best. One of the I got caught in a little semi-pro rabbit hole after I was watching that game.
Same thing.
Halftime of that game.
Same thing. After the game was over, popped on HBO Max. Funny moments, not Will Ferrell's best work, but definitely funny moments. I love Will Arnett's character, basically playing Pat Riley when he was a Lakers analyst.
Yeah.
The jive turkey and everything. Great moments.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's also kind of sad though. It's like, all right, Will, you haven't made a good movie in a while. Let's just rehash one of your characters so you can,
what? If every so often Will Ferrell shows up to a hockey game to do play-by-play as Ron Burgundy, if he shows up to a Warriors game to dress up as Jackie Moon, I'm happy.
Yeah. No, for sure. It brings a sense of nostalgia.
It almost reminded me of, remember when Will Ferrell went to every spring training venue for every team to play every position in baseball?
Yes.
I thought for a second, like, is he going to try to do this with every basketball team by going to every city and just warming up with every team? But I don't think he has the time to do that. So
no.
Yeah, because that baseball thing was like a one-day thing.
Yeah. No, it was. Well, that was like an HBO special, wasn't it?
It was an HBO special. He was doing it for charity, but he literally went from a helicopter to each Scottsdale venue to play all positions in baseball. It was incredible.
Wow. Yeah.
And he could hoop, man. I was just watching the video. Like, he's not making every shot, but he can hand. He was shooting with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on the court.
He's an athlete. No, he's
Yeah.
he's an athlete. He's really into it. I think didn't he play soccer at Irvine or something?
Originally he was supposed to be a broadcaster. He wanted to be Chick Hearn, and he loved Harry Carey. Obviously, he did the impression, but he was going to be a sports play-by-play guy. And then obviously he realized that he can make more money making people laugh.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, these past 2 games, they were crucial. Like, the reason why I was worried here, because I want the Warriors to get every advantage that they possibly can in these playoffs. And the advantage that I want them to get is home court advantage, Derek. Home court advantage. And if they would have lost those 2 games after that one in Denver, by the way, the way that the young guys fought in that game on Monday, it's like if you would have come out and if you just would have looked sluggish, then that would have just been a disrespect to those young dudes who really put in a good effort there on that Monday night. But those 2 games were huge. Like, I don't know where they're at in the standings now because I didn't look from last night's game. But going into last night's game, they were tied with the Grizzlies for that 2 seed. So the 2 seed is very much in play. The one thing that I was nervous about was that 2 seed getting out of reach. You lose the next couple of games as the Grizzlies and Jazz had an easy schedule, while the Warriors are going on to face a tough schedule, rendering these games at the end of March going into April useless. Check out the schedule at the end of March and going into April. Those 4 games, they're playing the Grizzlies, they're playing the Jazz, they're playing the Suns. Going to be a huge stretch of games there. So you need to stack up these wins now. I came away from there. I don't know how I'm feeling about the team right now without Draymond Green, but those 2 wins, they got them and they needed it. Kevon Looney against Jokic. Jokic was tired, sure, from playing a lot, but Kevon Looney was being physical with him the entire night. Doesn't Jokic, by the way, whenever he turns the ball over or misses a shot and has to run back on defense, doesn't he stumble and look like he's going to fall the entire time on his way back on defense? I thought he was going to fall over like a billion times in that game.
He always looks like a clumsy doofus, but yet he's one of the best players in basketball.
He's amazing. He's unbelievable. Really, when we look back at this, we're going to say, how in the hell was that dude one of the best athletes that we have ever seen? If he's one of the best basketball players in this generation of the NBA, then that really puts him in the pantheon of some of the greatest players that we've ever seen, greatest athletes that we've ever seen. It's such I know we don't want to put him in the top 10 of all time, whatever.
Yeah.
But he is going to go down as one of the strangest athletes that we've ever seen. But anyway,
some might say he's the best big man passer of all time right now.
Woo! I mean, these no lookers that he has. He had one against the Warriors. It's like, what the hell are we doing?
Watch out, Russell Wilson. There's a better quarterback in Denver.
Remember that one? Who was it that made the pass? It was like Steven Adams for the Grizzlies for John Morant.
Yeah.
Like Steven Adams made a longer pass than Jimmy Garoppolo made his entire season.
Yeah.
But that was
you said that.
Yeah, I made fun of my own joke. It's all right.
I was about to say, did you say that, moron?
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever I say people have been saying this, that's just me on the 5 a.m. show that's been saying it. It's not people. It's just me. And I'm just responding.
Yeah, some idiots that host a 5 a.m. show kind of say some stupid shit from time to time.
Yeah. I said doo-doo the other day. I was really
doo-doo?
Dude, I was caught in a real brain funk because I was talking about the Steph Curry thing with that girl. I think her name was PJ, 10 years old. She went to go see Steph on Monday.
I love that. So nice.
It was such a nice moment, right? And I do think it's very unique because there are a lot of times where maybe that does happen with a fan and we just don't see an athlete or a team in general just rejecting that moment.
Yeah.
So I know it was put on camera and everything for everyone to see. That was that was actually funny. A lot of the responses there were like, Steph doesn't do it for the cameras. It's like, well, there's a camera taking a video of him right now.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about? He's not doing it for the cameras. He's doing it out of the goodness of his heart, sure, but there's cameras pointed at him.
I will admit, initially when I saw what happened on Monday night, I was like, I feel bad for the girl, but also I'm just like, didn't you know that ahead of time? It was announced on Saturday night.
Yeah, come on, parents, do your jobs.
Seriously. Pull a Bleacher Report, for God's sakes. The poor girl's crying.
Actually, I never thought of it from that angle. Hey, parents, can you look at the lineups before you go?
Save your daughter some heartache. Jesus.
But I'm sure they did get the tickets from long before, and maybe
Yeah.
they were waiting for this game and they couldn't
It
sell
sucks.
them, whatever. But yeah, as I was saying it in the middle of a segment, I was saying the word "do," and I had like a brain fart. It's like I had a stroke as I was on air, and I was like, "Do." I was like, what did I just say? And then there was like 3 texters that just chimed in.
Of course, the text line has to let you hear about it.
And they're my homies. They know I make mistakes all the time. It's pretty funny. They're not like, who's this guy making the mistakes? Get him off the air. It's like, Steven, you just said doo-doo. I'm like, my man. But shout out to Steven from Hercules. But yeah, man, I said doo-doo on the air. It's pretty embarrassing. It's not as bad as the time I said schlong instead of throng. Nobody called me out for that one.
It's not terrible. I've said worse things on the radio. Don't you worry.
Oh, I know you have.
What, just misspeaks, or just me be trying to start my radio career by saying outlandish shit?
You just testing the FCC, like really giving them a run for their money.
Probably the worst thing I ever said on the radio. And looking back on this was just totally ignorant. But the worst thing I ever said was we were talking about Chick-fil-A. And I said on the radio that Chick-fil-A is run by the same people that you'll see in the protests in Charleston.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Not
at the time. You're like, what's wrong? What's wrong with it? What do you mean? Everyone's
I was a little too vocal with that one. That was not the best thing to say.
Oh, Derek. But Warriors tonight against the Bucks, finally facing a championship contender, one who's like a bona fide championship contender within the East. Gonna be a lot of fun, man.
It will be fun, but they're a half game behind the Memphis Grizzlies for the 2nd seed. I mean, you giving up hope that they'll get the 1 seed at this point. They're 8 games back.
There's no chance they're getting the 1. But I really thought, like, that's why I was kind of worried, because like games can be defined. I know, like, we always wait till the end of the season, but like seasons can be defined by what happens in the home stretch. I went back to, like, for example, talking about Jordan Poole, right?
Yeah,
Jordan Poole was awesome ever since he went 0-for in that one game where Clay was gone and he didn't start from the 2 spot. Like, there was something going on there, but Jordan Poole, God, he's just been so confident, so aggressive. Like, the moves that he makes going to the rim, the way that he passes the ball, he is great, right? And I was equating, I'm like, this is a huge moment for Poole. Like, he's got to be the guy who's got to up his scoring here. I know Wiggins does, but Wiggins clearly hasn't. He just doesn't seem to care anymore. It's
I don't know what's going on with him, but
he's really in his own head. You could tell,
Yeah.
like, when he was taking free throws, he took like 6 deep breaths. Easy.
It was like Jackie Moon doing the underhand.
Exactly. Anyway, but when Jordan Poole went off in those games, I'm like, these games don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, but they really do in terms of seeding and stuff. When you look at it and just see where they're at compared to where the Jazz and the Grizzlies are at, the fact that the Jazz are winning these games and you don't want to lose that 3 spot, and the Grizzlies, they ended up losing one of these games, so you could fight for that too. Like, how important it was. And I equated it to Logan Webb coming out against the Brewers, where you were in a 4-game series with the Brewers. I think they were 1 game back of the Dodgers at this time, maybe 2. And if they lost 3 straight to the Brewers in a 4-game series, in that 4th game, and this was in like August, that 4th game, Logan Webb had to get the start. Easily going to be the biggest game that he had to pitch for the Giants, because if you lose that game, you go 3 games back. I think the Dodgers had an easy series ahead. So if you lose, you're nowhere in contention. But they ended up winning that game. And I'm like, I look at that 1 game right there, as opposed to the many others where I'm saying that was that one moment for Webb, man, where he really sees that opportunity. And that's kind of how I felt with the Warriors and Jordan Poole as a whole. It's just they seized the opportunity and got the win when they needed to. So I'm feeling really good now, especially with Draymond possibly coming back Monday.
You think he's coming back Monday? Has it been confirmed by Steve Kerr?
No, it's been confirmed by Draymond, though.
Draymond on his podcast, yeah.
Yeah, so he's coming back on March 14th. That's their target date against the Wizards on Monday. And then you never know. Could be seeing James Wiseman come back that same day.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. And yeah, and we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. Draymond just loves himself some Draymond right now. Just wearing those orange glasses on the sideline, and
He's feeling himself.
he's feeling himself. He's going to be. He is this era's Joe Theismann. He is wanting to talk, and he's good at it. I don't blame him. He is probably the best analyst in basketball, and he's still playing. Like everyone likes the TNT show, pregame show. It's fun. But Draymond's the only guy that I think breaks it down. Like he's going to be incredible when he does this full time.
He's going to be great. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at. I got a little update here. Freddie Freeman free agent decision is not imminent in this hour, so not imminent yet.
Well, we
So
got the fever going in baseball, and we got the frenzy going in football.
Yeah, a lot of free agent fuckery going on. I think that's what we're gonna call it from now
I
on.
like that. That's what we'll call our thing, the free agent fuckery.
By the way, last night was having dinner with our friends. Me and Jesse were out to dinner with our friends Nick and Kelly. Nick, we used to live with. Kelly, his girlfriend. So we went out to dinner last night, and they listened to our entire podcast because they were in LA. They were at Disneyland, and they listened to one of our episodes, talked about how great it was. They really liked it. And then
Wow.
Kelly, he's like, yeah, what's the name of your podcast again? None of your opinions matter, man. Is that it?
Basically.
And I'm like, that's what we're gonna name it from now on. None of your opinions matter. None of your opinions matter, man.
Ours, every fucking talking head. Yeah. None of your opinions matter.
Yeah, I was like, that's a very inclusive type of podcast right there. None of your opinions matter.
I like it.
Stephen Langford and Derek Papa.
I do like that actually. Real quick here. Last night it happened. Just congrats to Greg Popovich passing Don Nelson, becoming the winningest head coach in basketball history. Yeah, good to see that from old Greg Popovich.
Hopefully Popovich takes the same route as Don Nelson. Go to Hawaii, start smoking a lot of pot.
Oh yeah.
Just start have poker games with like Woody Harrelson and Owen Wilson and whatever other stoner actors are out there, and just
he probably do more wine.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
He's more of a wine guy, but I could see that too. Like he's already got like the gray, like he looks like the bad guy from Mad Max Fury Road. He's got like the nice flowing white hair, ready to go.
Yeah, he does look kind of like he's really getting to Donald Sutherland territory with his hair.
Rick Rubin-y, I would say.
Yeah.
Last thing on the agenda, Steven, since Ryan Mauser wanted us to discuss this, do we care about March Madness? I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know if I can fill out a bracket, honestly, with my work.
What do you define as caring?
I mean, I don't care about any, like, obviously everyone's watching today for, was it Champ Week or whatever the hell it's called? I don't even know.
Don't let Mauser fool you. It's conference championship week. Yeah.
Yeah. Conference championship week. And then we get selection Sunday tomorrow. I don't even know who's good this year. I know, who just beat Gonzaga a couple weeks ago?
St. Mary's.
Was it St. Mary's?
Yeah.
Good for St. Mary's.
But the reason Mauser cares is because once he, as he does, he studies these teams, he knows these teams, he watches these teams, he might get a little monetary benefit from all of that work. So it's gonna pay off, pun intended.
Yes. Are you still doing, or have you ever done March Madness brackets?
Yeah, but look, man, I enjoy those games. The thing is, like,
they're fun to watch.
Like when you ask, do I care? No, I don't care. I don't care what team wins. I don't care who goes through. If a 16 beats a 1, like, I don't care if Gonzaga loses. I don't care if whatever happens. But I do love how much effort these guys put in because it's, I think as fans of pro sports, I think we really don't think too much about how few players actually make it to the bigs.
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys that are playing in the tournament, this could be their last time playing basketball ever. So they're going all out every single game. It's a lot of fun to watch. And these higher seeded teams, they're trying just as hard because it's not a given that they're going to win. That's what happened with Virginia when they lost the UMBC Golden Retrievers. One of my favorite games that I've ever watched.
There's a team called the Golden Retrievers?
There was, the University of oh God, what was it? I think it was
Just a
like
bunch of Airbuds
I
playing.
think it was like the University of Maryland, but Baltimore College or something like that.
Yeah.
The UMBC Golden Retrievers, they beat Virginia. I was in a Whole Foods watching it.
Oh, nice.
The
Well,
Whole
Whole Foods
Foods
with a
tap
bar.
room. The Whole Foods tap room.
San Jose.
I was eating a Cubano sandwich at the same time. Yeah, while drinking a nice little, Whole Foods beer and watching the game.
With the rooftop on and right next to the
No,
SAP Center.
not that one. Not that one.
Oh,
It was in Santa
that's a good
Clara.
one.
Oh,
That's
it's a good one. All right. Shout out to Cody Elias. You coming to Whole Foods?
I'm glad you said something though about guys that don't go on to the NBA, because every time I watch college basketball, and March Madness is entertaining as hell. I don't watch regular season because I just don't care. But when I do watch college basketball, the product is just not as good as the NBA. Obviously, it's just hard for me to watch. But I always think to myself, God, there's a lot of white guys on the court right now that are not going to go to the NBA.
Yeah, a lot of players do look like they're those guys that you run into at like a fraternity party, and you're like, dude, you've been here way too long.
Yeah, I know. Like, what are you, 40 and still on the team? Who's that one guy in Gonzaga that had like the mustache, the upper lip hair?
I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know Drew Timmy and what was the other guy's name with the headband? Drew Timmy might have been his name. I can't remember the other one. Hang on, I'm gonna look this up because those two guys, exactly, those two guys are who I pinpoint last year. Is like, you guys have been in college for way too long.
No, I mean, I enjoy March Madness and I'm gonna watch the games because they're fun, and we'll talk about them if they're entertaining. But like, I don't know anything about the players, the teams. All I know is that Coach K got his last game ruined.
Drew Timmy.
Yeah.
Sorry, the ring light got in the way.
No.
You haven't made a comment about my new webcam, man.
What do you mean your new webcam? How am I supposed to notice that?
Because does the picture not look more crisp? Am I not lit up here in a different way?
Steven, the way to phrase that is, I have a new computer. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not a new laptop. It's a new camera here.
How do you have a new webcam? How did you get that fixed on how's that possible?
Well, no, it's not built. It's not built into the laptop. It's like it's.
You have your own separate webcam?
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, my friend got it because he was he had it for himself because he's like a video game guy and he was streaming, and I'm like, why are you gonna put yourself on video as you're streaming? Are you really gonna turn into that? And he's like, yeah, man. I'm like, okay, but he didn't use this one.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you have that, and I've noticed less dropouts, so that's fantastic. But
the less dropouts because of the computer, dude. You haven't noticed the crisp look of the picture. Look at the beard, man.
You're looking pretty crisp. You're looking pretty crisp. But don't be one of those guys that's like, hey, buddy, did you notice that I got a new haircut? Did you notice this? Did you notice that? Come on, I don't notice shit.
Look at me.
One thing I am going to say that I do miss with March Madness is next week we would have been going to Old St. Lee's 99 party. Those are so much fun.
Oh, the first week. That was a great, like, when Saint came up to us and we're just standing there, and he didn't know me too well at the time.
Yeah.
He knew me by face, I guess, but I don't think he knew my name. And then and he came up to us, and he's got like a glass of wine, and he's just like, he comes up to you, he's like, D, and Saint, and then like and then
in a leprechaun hat.
Yeah, and then you're like, you remember Steven? And he put both his arms around us, and he's just like, guys, this is a great day. And then I'm like, I turn off, Saint, this is the greatest day of my life. I've never been like, sorry, Jesse, I've never been happier in my life than when Saint was right there. Like, this is a great day.
If you don't know, the 99 party is in Alamo, near Danville, and it is at God, what is the family's name? I'm so upset that I can't remember their name right now. But they do great things, great charity work for foundations, children, sick children. They help with those, and they put on this party where a bunch of old college basketball coaches get together and drink before the tournament, and they made it a big deal. Make-A-Wish is the thing I was thinking about. And they St. Lee always does it. They do a great job every year. The Gallows, Bob Gallo puts on a fantastic party at his house, and because of COVID, that party hasn't taken place. And hopefully things change and we get to do that going forward. I would love if we get a Greek Fest going too. Come on, Anna, make it happen. But yeah, dude. I was thinking about this week, and I was like, damn, we're not gonna be able to go to the 99.
Yeah, I felt so out of place at that party.
No, it
at
was
that
fun time.
function.
The Bloody Marys were flowing. It was a good time.
I had a plaid shirt on, and everyone's all dressed up in like these slacks with like a
I
polo
wasn't.
shirts. What?
I was dressed up.
No, you were just dressed, like in your normal attire, the black T-shirt with a Raider hat, and the shoes from like 18 years ago that you still haven't gotten rid of, and
I have a very specific look.
those
I ain't
jeans.
changing for nobody.
Those jeans that were too long and have clearly been worn out at the bottom, but you're still wearing them anyway.
What do you mean? Jeans are jeans.
You had those jeans.
Why
with
you
the
pay attention to my what I'm wearing every day?
You had those jeans though at the time. The thread, it was like you were walking. It looked like a leash behind you. It was so long.
Yeah,
from
and
the
I'm
bottom
sure
of
the
your
crotch had deteriorated and my balls were hanging out at the same time.
jeans. Sorry. Well,
I'm not
actually,
good
I'm
with
not.
I'm not good with a wardrobe. I need somebody to help me out with that because
No, you're
I'm
fine,
terrible.
man. I just know exactly what you were wearing without even remembering the day too well.
And you were correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my friend. I think this is good enough for everything we need to cover in the last week. It's a crazy week, and we're glad that we were able to talk about everything. And we'll be back this
Ooh.
Tuesday. Oh, yes.
I got one more.
Yeah.
Are there more wheels or doors in the world, Derek?
This is a question.
Yeah.
Are there more wheels or doors in the world?
Tires or doors? Excuse me.
Tires. I would say doors. I have no
Interesting.
reason to answer with that. I'm just going with doors.
But think about the amount of doors, or excuse me, think about the amount of tires, like with 18 wheelers, and you only got 2 doors. So you got 16 more wheels per truck. Think about that ratio. We also got a bunch of doors in apartments.
So what's the answer?
Well, I don't know. It's never going to be answered. Nobody
Has
knows.
this just been a question that's been
It's been the
thrown
question
out?
that's sweeping the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I got one for you real quick.
What?
I noticed this while I was on vacation in Florida, and I didn't know when I wanted to bring this up with the podcast, but now it seems like a good time. Are you more of a window guy on an airplane or an aisle guy on an airplane?
Oh, window. Yeah. Way more
Why is
window.
that?
I need something to lean on. Like that song. I
Lean
just need
on me.
something to lean on. Oh, well, not.
That's good too.
Yeah.
A lot of leaning songs.
There are a lot of leaning songs, but yeah, I need
Just those two.
I need something for the shoulder. The aisle's all right, but I end up putting my foot there, overstepping my boundary, and getting the feet maybe stepped on or run over.
Oh, elbows by the cart that come through. I was in the conundrum. Yeah, I'm like Drew Barrymore and Wedding Singer, just always just getting rammed on by the fucking
exactly.
cart.
And I'm like her dickbag boyfriend.
Oh God, that guy was an asshole. I hated that guy.
Yeah. Real shock for me growing up, being having Baby's Day Out is one of my favorite movies, and then seeing The Wedding Singer.
Baby's Day Out.
Yeah, dude.
Is that when then? If I remember correctly, that's the cover where the baby is like in the arms of the gorilla, and the mafia is after the baby.
Yep.
Yeah,
Except it's
great
not the
movie.
mafia. It's it is the mafia, I guess, with Joe Montana. But
Fat Tony.
And that one blonde guy who's in like every 90s movie ever made. Yeah, the dad of the baby in Baby's Day Out is that asshole boyfriend in The Wedding Singer.
Oh, is he?
So it was a real shock to me when I saw that guy like be a dick. I wasn't too happy with that. I remember that when I was younger. I was like, what the hell?
I just remember the ending of Wedding Singer is Adam Sandler singing that song to Drew Barrymore and her fiance. The way that they break up is Billy Idol ramming the cart into him, just taking him away. We never see him again. Like, that's how they broke up. He just goes to the other end of the airplane.
Thank you, sir. Chicken or fish? Yeah. No, dude, that was
It's a solid Billy Idol.
Billy Idol. No way. In the airplane. Oh,
my favorite, just real quick, one of my favorite moments on SNL is Sting as Billy Idol and Phil Hartman as Frank Sinatra yelling at him, "Hey, buddy, I got bigger chunks of you in my stool."
I got to watch that. Phil Hartman as Frank Sinatra was great. Never seen
Oh, he was
Sting as Billy
fantastic.
Idol, though.
Probably couldn't get away with a lot of the stuff he said on the show, but that was Frank Sinatra. Well, the reason I bring up the airplane thing is because while I was sitting on the airplane, I was in quite a conundrum because in the multiple planes I took to get to Florida and Portland, I was sitting in either the aisle or the window seat, and I noticed that when you sit in the window seat, if you have to pee, you are putting the rest of your aisle in a massive disadvantage because you got to get them up, you got to get up, they got to move, especially when I'm sorry I did this, but while the fasten seatbelt sign is on and there's a little bit of turbulence, I had to go. Couldn't hold it in any more longer. So I turn to people on the side and I say, sorry, I have to do this. I'm really sorry. Can you guys get up? And I have to go to the bathroom. And the look on their face just was like, guys, I understand I'm being kind of, an annoyance right now, but this is what you sign up for when you are the aisle seat. Case in point, when you are in the aisle seat, you don't have to worry about that shit. You just get up and go to the bathroom. Now, you do have to unfasten your seatbelt and let other people go when they have to go, but it's kind of a, I do see the benefit of a window seat and having that something to lean on. At the same time, sitting in the aisle, you don't have to worry about getting in the way of people.
Well, you got to go to the bathroom right before you get onto the plane if you know you're getting the window seat.
I know, and I don't plan ahead always, but I always say if you are the window, you prepare to be an annoyance, and at the same time, if you're an aisle, prepare for people to annoy you.
Yeah, the worst is when you're in the window and you got two people sitting next to you and they just don't get up when you say you got to get up. They like move their legs in as if
I hate
like
that
it's
shit.
creating
No,
any space.
no.
Can you get up?
Make an effort to get the fuck up. Like, come on. Like, do you really want me to rub my ass or dick up against you while I'm trying to get out of the fucking aisle? Good Lord.
It's like at a sporting event. When I'm going down the road,
exactly.
Hey, stand up so you can let me walk by. Don't just put your
lift
legs
your feet up. Yeah.
Don't put your legs to the corner of the chair as if that creates any space. Like, come on, And
come on,
I do that, but but it's like, dude, just stand up. Let me pass.
Stand
by.
up. Ludacris said it best. Just stand up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Steven, I think we'll put a bow on this one.
Okay.
Thanks to everybody listening and watching, and I will post this podcast later today, so anything we say is not outdated by later today or tomorrow. Who knows what happens? By this time Tuesday, we'll have a bunch of new news. Not by this time. We'll do an earlier podcast, obviously, but next Tuesday we'll be back. We'll see if Jimmy Garoppolo is traded by then. We'll see if Deshaun Watson is traded by then, and we'll see who gets signed. It's going to be a good day. We're going to do a podcast back-to-back days because Steven is heading to spring training on Thursday. We're going to do Tuesday and Wednesday next week, so stay tuned for that. On a new episode of All of Your Opinions Don't Matter. Steven, say what you always say, my friend.
All of your opinions suck, man. It's just your opinion, man.